What's happening? Gotta be a little quiet today. YouTube! What's up, guys? It is a beautiful day. I'm walking about 30 yards behind my wife, who's strolling my boy along. And I figured I would come live to you. Come live to you, the people. I love this. I love this time of year. It's cold, but it's not so cold that it hurts. Nature all around me. I'm over by it. Let me see if I can show you guys the other side of what's happening here. Could I flip this? A nice creek. Absolutely beautiful. Come on, dogs, pick up the pace. We gotta keep up with your mama. We gotta keep up with your mama. But yeah, it's a beautiful day, and this morning I posted on Instagram at Classic Learner today, and it was a profound picture because it was how people live under socialism on one side, which I'm sure you guys could imagine, not good. It was like a Cuban shanty town. Right? People uniformly in poverty, right? That's like the reveal of socialism, right? They're like, everyone will be equal. Yeah, everyone will be equally poor and miserable. And on the other side of the picture was how socialist leaders live. And of course, they had big open green fields and mansions and decadence, which almost always winds up being the case in socialist countries, and undoubtedly America is down that path. In fact, I would say we're there already. So what I wrote was, well, a few things that I think are profound. That a public school indoctrination teaches children that socialism is the way to go. A good education reveals what socialism... Hello, Justin Cringe YouTube channel. A good education teaches children what socialism really is. That it markets itself as everyone being equal, but in reality, it's the ultimate system of haves and have-nots. Those who are connected to the government, those who have the money. Corey Harrison, what's up, brother? Right? They can set up the laws and the structure of things so that they face no competition. Which is why, why do the big capitalist media always push socialism, right? Well, if you already have all the money and power and connections, you want the government to get involved in the economy, because then you pay off the governors, you control them, and they basically make it so you have no competition. So I was like, that's great and all, right? Like, a good education will make a child... Buddy, don't start barking. I'm on a stream here. Oh, man. Lost you guys for a second. I'm on a stream here, and I'm already losing my breath trying to catch up here, and yeah, my dog's barking. Come on, we're crossing the street. Got another person walking a dog here. How you doing? It's a nice dog you have. Yes, they are, but they're very loud and they bark a lot. Non-stop. All right, I'll catch you later. God bless. No, not that cold here. So, all right, I got to keep it down because my boy is right in front of me and we're trying to put him to sleep. So a good education will teach what socialism is, but a great education will prepare children not only to survive within socialism, but to flourish. Because it's not enough anymore to teach children the pitfalls of socialism, because we're already here. Children have to be taught how to survive how to flourish, how to prosper within socialism, at least forms of it, right? Don't prepare them for the world we grow up in. Prepare children for the world they're going to grow up in. I was watching Pockets of the Future, posted a few clips from, have you guys ever seen Freedom to Fascism? It's this great documentary made years ago by Aaron Russo. He's since been deceased. And he was brought into the Rockefellers, and they told him some of their plans, and they're like, this is what we're going to do, and things are going to be great, and you're going to be on the inside. And Russo didn't care. They told him their plans, and he was like, this is anti-humanity. This is anti-God. This is terrible what you're telling me. So Russo attempted to blow the whistle. He did a great interview with Alex Jones. This is years and years ago. He's dead now. I would definitely suggest watching that. He did this interview with Alex Jones where he talked about how they were trying to set up this one world government, and that they were trying to make all currency digital, right? If you recall, when the pandemic first started and they were talking about rolling out their stimulus plan, right? Their PPP loans and whatnot, and Trump bucks and checks for everyone. One of the things in the proposal, they probably killed him, like Bill Cooper. Oh, I'm actually reading Beyond the Pale Horse right now. That's by Bill Cooper. I'm planning to do a report on it, but I'm going to wait till I'm done. So I figure read it front to back before I pass my judgments. But Aaron Russo. So the PPP, right? The PPP. So if you recall, in that legislation, the one they originally tried to pass, they tried to create the digital dollar. And what they said is anyone who wants to get this money from the government, they need to set up a digital wallet, and they won't receive traditional dollars, they'll receive digital dollars. So Aaron Russo, buddy, I'm trying to stream here and you're doing this. Oh, now Lucy's getting involved. Look at these dogs. Look at these dogs. Are they crazy? Are these crazy dogs? Y'all crazy dogs. I'm trying to talk about education, the future, fascism, socialism, all these things. Yeah, spoiled little doggies is right. You don't even know the half of it. All right, come on, dogs. I'm like, I get like last fiddle on the house. My wife, my boy, my dogs, and then after everyone eats, then the big dog gets to eat. But so Russo, he freedom to fashion. In this interview with Alex Jones, he talked about all this, right? And they tried to put that through this year, and you better bet your bottom dollar that by 2030 they'll have their digital dollars rolled out. You could take that to the bank. You could clip this. So I'll put that on my batting average. So he predicted all this. Gotta love. I have my thoughts on that. I'll get into Alex another time. He's done a lot of good work. I'll say that. He's done a lot of good work. So Aaron Russo also released a documentary, Freedom to Fascism. And, a lot of it was on the banking system. A lot of it was on taxation, how they don't even have the proper laws on the books for to implement a federal income tax, but they just have so much authority with the state that you'd be crazy to challenge it, because if you do, you just get smacked and thrown in a cell. AJ speaks a lot of truth, but anyway, I'll get into Alex another time. Anyway, I don't even like I don't like my internet presence to be banging on other people, but anyway. So he did this Freedom to Fascism, and a lot of it was about the taxation, but a lot of it was about Pockets of the Future released a few clips from it today. And in the one clip, it was Supreme Court Justice John Roberts, right? Roberts is being sworn in to the Supreme Court. They're doing their, congressional hearings where they question him. What will be your stance on this? What will happen if, this topic comes up? Yada, yada, yada. Usually just a show. And it's a clip of Joe Biden, actually. And Joe Biden is questioning John Roberts, who's now the Supreme Court Justice. Turncoat, controlled. His name, Roberts, his name actually showed up on Jeffrey Epstein's flight logs, John Roberts. Now, we don't know if it's that John Roberts because, the media doesn't do actual journalism and look into things and question things. But it sure is interesting that the name John Roberts was on Epstein's flight logs, especially if you look at Roberts' voting record, which Obamacare was only made possible because John Roberts broke rank, just like he voted against religious liberty this week. So Joe Biden's questioning John Roberts. And Biden says, I'm going to misquote this a little bit, paraphrasing here. Don't copy my exact quote because it's probably slightly wrong. But basically, Biden asks him, he says to him, you're going to have to rule on people being microchipped. Mark my words. Oh, that's prophetic now. Because I would venture to say over the next 4 years, the government, and presumably, barring any changes under Biden, is going to try to fast track or push the justification for microchipping people, so that people could be tracked in terms of if they're vaccinated, yada, yada, yada. So that was interesting. Freedom to Fascism, this documentary. And there's the microchips. Oh, and he also, Aaron Russo, in this documentary, included a clip. And in this clip, sorry if that noise is loud, I'll just walk past it. Oh, what's he gonna say? What's in the documentary? Oh, why is it so loud? Oh, he's not always the smoothest when he streams, and he fumbles his words, but he seems to know what he's talking about. All right, I'm past it. So, Freedom to Fascism. Russo also included clips from a hearing in which they talked to a tech guy, and the tech guy was testifying about the voting machines. And he said that the voting machines that the government uses, he said they're already rigged so they could be hacked however the government wants at any time. This is what he said. And this was in 2004, I think, this clip was from. And basically what he said is that the machines are set up so that they could just, hack them, change the algorithm a little bit, or you get it. And basically it makes whatever election you want turn out to be 51-49, which of course almost every election turns out to be 51-49. Isn't that interesting? You need some help, babe? Do you need some help, lovely? Hold on, I gotta help my wife. What do we got here? Isn't she lovely? Look at her momming it up. My wife is the greatest person in the entire world. Everything I am, I owe to my wife, and she's my rock. Look at her. Just look at her. Uh-huh. Put a blanket on my boy. So I told you it's not that cold. Oh, you think it's cold?
Oh, my nose is running.
All right, she's great, but she's a little sissy.
I'm chilly.
Yeah, get nice and tucked in. You're tucked in, people. Buddy, I'm trying to stream here. I'm trying to put Brady to sleep. I'm trying to stream. And I got my dog barking. All right, we good to go? Do you need help getting down there? I'll let you storm ahead. Yeah, the doggies go woof. Are you stuck? Look at her, look at her. Struggling. Look how pregnant she is. So I love it. It's number 2.
Do they like my outfit?
You're looking good, girl. Uh-huh. You're damn right. All right. Where were we? What was I talking about, people? Oh yeah, the rigging of the voting machines, and how basically they testified that the voting machines were set so that they would make the elections 51-49, which, you know, interestingly enough, doesn't it just seem like every election is 51-49? It's amazing. It's like they want the country to feel like it's completely divided at all times. They want everyone to always feel like half the country hates them. It's almost like they want people to hate each other so that they don't realize that they're the ones actually doing it. But I digress. So Russo included all of this in his documentary, which, I mean, I've always told people was fantastic, but, you know, anytime that years go by and you see that someone is almost prophetic in the things they were predicting, then it's worth another look. You say, you know what? Let me pay attention to what this guy had to say. So yeah, if you're hanging around the house tonight, I believe it's available on YouTube. Type in Aaron Russo plus Freedom to Fascism and see what the late, great Russo had to say. Let's get a better stroller then. I don't know. My son said we need a better stroller. All right. He said it's getting stuck. All right. 2 years old. You believe that? Felt like yesterday. He's almost 3. All right. So, putting all that in context with what I said about teaching children about socialism, that it's no longer enough just to point out these things and say, look how corrupt it is, look what they do. They control the banking system, they control the government to the point where they, you know, more or less could probably control elections, and the money at the top is so overwhelming that it doesn't even matter. You know, most elections you don't have to rig. It's just that they have the ability to do it. Because the majority of the time you'll have, you know, a politician on the left, a politician on the right, and, you know, they're all paid by the same people. So, like, you know, it looks like they're going to govern differently, but then they get into office and it's like, right, like every president, every 4 years in America, a president, one of the candidates runs on anti-war. And then every new president just continues bombing the Middle East, right? It's like they say one thing, but they mean another. If you recall, in WikiLeaks, one of Hillary Clinton's, in her speeches to Wall Street, she said to them, well, I have to have talking points for Main Street, and then what I'm really going to do, which is what I tell you at Wall Street. So she actually got caught in a speech admitting that, but that's not unique to that demon. That's, you know, that's all of these people. They're possessed people. So when you're teaching children about this stuff, right, and they need to learn how the world works, it used to be enough, like when I grew up, right, it was enough to say, listen, this is socialism, and these are the pitfalls of it, and, you know, it will sell you rainbows and butterflies, but in reality what you'll have is toilet paper shortages and food lines, right? That was enough. But now society has progressed, right? Society has progressed enough in which, like it or not, most of the countries in the world are some variation of socialism, fascism, right? We don't have these free countries all over the world. There's something wrong here? Walk around, Miss Dogs. Walk around. Boom. So children need to be prepared to survive in these economies, in these worlds, under these laws. So when I posted the meme, right, and for those of you that missed it, the meme that I started this whole talk with, on one side said how people live under socialism, and it was people in like Cuban shanty towns, just real poor. And on the other side, it was how socialist leaders live. And they were living in green, open fields with decadence and, everything you would want. You get it. So I said that's partly true. But if you educate children right, regardless of the economic system they live in, they can prosper. And when you structure your child's education, that's what you have to think about. You say, all right, what is the world they're going to grow up in? And how can I structure that world so that they're successful? So I just pointed out a few things that you need to focus on. The first being that all children, and this is so important, all children need to learn a trade. I always tell people, don't send your child to trade school. Make their entire upbringing a trade school and other things, but children need to learn to build with their hands, to fix things. And the reason for that at this point is obvious. Just look this year, we saw the government, look how easily they shut down all these businesses. They shut down all these big corporations. So if you went to college and got a job, you got your degree, and your degree said, this person will do a great job sitting in a cubicle for the next 45 years and pushing paperwork for you. Are you listening, ladies? You don't need a man. You need a cubicle, a corporation, and a boss that doesn't care about you at all. That is female liberation. Oh, Nelly. But if you go that route, right, and regardless of man, woman, right, if you go that route and you're working for one of these big corporations and they shut down, the government could just shut them down, now you don't have a job. Or even worse, right? Like we always hear about social credit scores, right? Oh no, the West is going to adopt the Chinese social credit score. How will we survive? And I'm over here like, you guys don't see that we already have a social credit score? I got a strike every time I speak on YouTube. But if you get say you have one of these degrees and you work for one of these big corporations, right? Maybe you see something that you're not okay with. Maybe you say something like, a woman is best served married to a man and raising children. You believe that. Maybe you see that 5-year-olds are being given hormone blockers. And these 5-year-olds are being chemically castrated, right? When you give a 5-year-old sex change chemicals, you might as well take an axe and castrate them. Oh, when you word it like that, it's not so good, is it? But that's what it really is. I mean, you want to talk about a violation of basic human rights to set a 5-year-old up so that they won't be able to have children? You think a 5-year-old could comprehend that the greatest joy in life is the ability to procreate? But of course, there's agendas behind that now, isn't there? So maybe you speak up. Sleeping? We did it. He's asleep. For all the parents out there, you know how exciting that is. We got him to sleep. My boy doesn't like to sleep. He loves life. He wants to be awake. But you get that college degree, and maybe you see something and you say something. You say, no, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. Well, what happens? Right? Maybe that corporation you work for says, I saw you speaking that hate speech. You don't work here anymore. So the notion that we live in a society without social credit scores is patently absurd. You know, they might put an actual number on it, but the bottom line is we already live in totalitarian prison planet. And people speak up and their livelihoods are attacked. They're attacked. By the way, I speak up a lot, so if you want to support me, you can go to www.classicallearner.com. I added a donate or subscription button, so if you guys want to support my shit, do it. If you don't, it's fine. It's cool. It's cool. Like, whatever, guys. Whatever, you know. Whatever. But, so we have a social credit score, and that's why I say, like, yes, it's nice. You know, you want children to learn academically for sure. You know, look at me. Obviously, I'm all about that. But they need a foundation with trades. They need skills so that if the government comes in and says social credit scores or you can't work, it doesn't matter because I could do some word of mouth marketing and, you know, I could fix that. And, you know, they could always make a living in this world, which... as a parent, I don't know. I mean, isn't that kind of important? Isn't that important? Isn't that the purpose of an education? Security, so that they could work and have a good life and a family and make sure there's always food on the table. So the first thing I said is you got to make sure that homeschool is trade school. Or if your child still goes to public school, that you're, you know, setting aside the time to make sure they have real skills with their hands. You want them to have that. You want them to have financial literacy. Now, hold on, my dog's about to go berserk. He's about to go Viking berserk. He doesn't like buses. All right, buddy, we all know how you feel about buses. Oh, now a truck. Unbelievable. Oh, now I'm dropping things. All right. What is wrong with this guy? All right. Financial literacy. Now, I'm sure most of you saw I released my book this week, The Bear from Jekyll Island. It's like, oh, here he goes again. Here he goes again promoting his book. Well, shit, people, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? The Bear from Jekyll Island. And the book is a play off of The Creature from Jekyll Island by G. Edward Griffin. And it's a fiction based in reality. And, you know, basically, George Bear was the captain of a taxi boat. And he picked up a small group of hogs. And they desired to take over more than the barn. They wanted to take over the entire farm. They schemed to take over the piggy bank. And, you know, throughout the book, the pigs, they have a secret meeting and they create the Federal Reserve Bank and they take over the piggy bank. They take control of money. And, you know, the book teaches children about fiat currency and fractional reserve banking. But it also teaches about debt. And this is, to me, this is the most important part of the book, right? Like, you know, I could talk about fiat and fractional reserve and the whole scheme, right? Like we always hear end the Fed, right? End the Fed, end the Fed, end the Fed. I love that. But we probably don't have that type of power. So listen, I hope it happens, but we're probably not going to end the Fed. So I think, okay, well, when I raise my child, what do I have to teach them then, right? Right? We are not victims. We are not helpless. We need to observe the world around us and structure our lives and the lives for our families in a way that is advantageous and puts us in a position of strength. Puts us in a position of strength. So I say, okay, the Fed's probably not going to end. So this is the best part of the book, in my opinion. It shows the path of the animals who take the loans, right? Like, Worm takes a loan, builds a nice home underground. Chipmunk takes a chipmunk's home has to be. See, the worm is greedy, right? Nice home underground. Greetings from California. Found you through the great BB. Yeah, well, Big Bear, Owen Benjamin, has been so good to me over the years. It's, you get like, the Fed would only end with a literal war. The banksters. You know what's interesting about like my perspective? I'll get back to that war comment, but you know what's interesting from my perspective? That we're crossing? You all right? Oh, there was a car accident. Hold on. Not now, but there's like broken glass and stuff. Come on, guys. I don't want you walking on glass. I've like, through my books that I've made, Cubs to Bears, and like a lot of the stuff I've done, I've inboxed and interacted with a lot of big accounts. And like, because of that, I've gotten a unique view into the people on the internet who say they want to help people. And like, listen, you call me humble or not, but if you like read my shit, it's just fire. Like, after this, go to my Cubs to Bears, the bear from Jekyll Island, just watch the video. It's just fire. I could be a little unhumble, but I've inboxed and I've talked to so many of these people, and like, there are a lot of people who are like, oh, I want to help people, I want to help people, I want the world to be better, and like, won't give you the time of day. But someone like Owen Benjamin, and if you just watch his streams, this is obvious, he goes so out of his way constantly to build up people with small accounts, to help people, to give them advice. He'll have private conversations with them about how they can better structure what they're doing. And I mean, like, this one guy's making cartoons on the net, and like, I mean, he's sending Owen full scripts, and like, Owen's reading these scripts for him. So like, if you want to know who the good people are, don't like fall into the trap of like, this person says this. I learned a lot from Owen. Yeah, he's a very positive, he's been a positive influence on my life and many people. But always look for the people that actually help other people, right? Because if you want the world to be better, when you find good people, yeah, great cartoons. But when you want the world to be better, when you find good people, you try to push their message and get them out there, because, I mean, it's just obvious. The more good people there are pushing positive messages and doing good things, you know, the better chances you'll win a culture war in the long run. So, I don't know, that's just a side note. Anyway, so getting back to the book. So you have the animals, and they all take the loans, right? Cow buys a big field of grass so he could just eat till he gets fat, gluttony. Sloth takes a loan so he could buy a tree and just lay around all day, sloth. The lions take a loan so they don't have to follow the receding waters anymore, because they have too much pride to leave. Oh, you catching a theme here? Red fox takes a loan because he just wants to find a way to get revenge on the pigs. Wrath. Yeah, I mean, thank you. I mean, I knew I was good before that, but you know, hearing Owen talk about my work and his experience with me that's really humbling, because that's like, talk about someone who's really gone against the beast system and who's come out on the other side. Like, you know, I've spent a few years going against the beast here, but like, that man has been put through the ringer. I mean, they threw him out of Hollywood. They banned him from YouTube. They demonetized him from YouTube. They banned him from YouTube. They banned him from PayPal, which limits his ability to bank. They've thrown him off all of these platforms. He had a property that he was renting out through Airbnb, and Airbnb told him that he couldn't rent out that property anymore because the things he says. He was banned from Patreon. So, you know, to have someone who has walked that journey, who's been a real role model to me, speak highly of my work, is like, a lot of people, they'll like, whatever, they want to say things like, yeah, I'm happy you like my stuff. But for someone like Owen to talk highly of my stuff that shit means a lot to me. I'll just put it that way. So all the animals in the book, they take the bank loan, right? The pigs say, you want this money? And like cow and chipmunk, they're like, yeah, give me that money. I'm going to buy a home, a field of grass, yada, yada, yada. But the bears know better. The bears say, no, we're not taking that bank loan. We'll just live within our means and we'll build and we'll crush, right? We'll build and we'll crush. That's what the bears do. I'm gonna pop into my house. I'm gonna walk through the house. I'm gonna go pop into the backyard. I'm gonna sit down and have a nice, calm talk with you fine people. Because we're pulling now. Don't judge the inside of my house right now. We're doing the Christmas stuff, so it's like a bomb, okay? All right, I usually have it in very pristine order. But we took the Christmas tree out today, got all the ornaments out, everything's scattered all over the floor right now. I'm not proud of it. I'm not ashamed of it either, so don't judge me. Well, no, I was telling them that we took the Christmas stuff out today, so it's a little bit of a bomb in there. But when I'm just walking through, I'm going to take them into the yard. Hold on, I got to get in the house here. Well, my wife is saying that our snowman that we keep outside, I hammered a nail into its nose, but the piece that held its nose on.
Put it on the wrong way.
All right, I might have put it on the wrong way. All right, you step back because you're gonna hurt your shoulder. Here, go inside. Go inside. All right, gotta get my boy in here. All right, dogs, back up. Here we go. All right, get you in there. Get you in there. All right. I'm not even letting you guys see. I got the tree up though. I got the tree. It's a little tree. We're currently in contract to sell the house. So we just purchased a little tree just to put it up because we're not going crazy this year with everything, for sure. Yeah, give me a second. Lights off. I'll get the lights off here. I gotta put my boy into bed. All right. All right. You're good, Munchkin.
I'm gonna put on the Sopranos.
Oh, you're watching Sopranos? I'm gonna talk to the people. All right. You coming out, Lou? I know, but my buddy's not coming out. He's like, I'm done with my walk, Dad. I'm going to lay down. Go sleep with Brady. All right. Lucy, I'm sitting over here. All right, so where was I? I was talking about Owen. Oh yeah, so all these animals, they took the bank loans, right? But the bears, my daughter was told by her new boyfriend that $15,000 that she intended to use to buy a semi-used expensive car, she should not use that. She should get a loan? Oh, lease the car? I don't know where you're going with that. But anyway, so the bears, they say, you know what, we're going to live within our means. And they don't take the loans. And what happens next is predictable, right? Eventually, there's a drought on the farm. And the pigs call in their bank loans. But the animals don't have enough money to build her credit. Yeah, I mean, you want to build your credit, but you also want to get in the habit of staying out of debt, right? Like, so in the book, right, the animals, they call on the bank loan, the animals can't pay back the pigs, and they lose their homes, the cow loses his field, chipmunk loses his home, sloth, his branch breaks, and he can't lay around all day. But the bears, they're in good shape because they lived within their means. And I think the book teaches fiat currency, fractional reserve banking, the history of the Fed. But, and that's nice and all. You need to know that. That's important for later on. But the first thing a child needs to know about financial literacy is how debt can be used to put you in a state of, almost a state of indentured servitude. Because, don't mind my garden, I ripped it up because we're selling the house. It's devastating though, it's devastating. But you fall in debt and, really you're like, oh, I'm paying you back. Paying the bank back with what, right? You're paying them back with your time, with your labor. So really when you take that loan, laid out honestly, no worries, Victoria, you're crushing it here. But if you're, if you're being honest, like you want to show an 18-year-old what a college loan is, you're really saying that, 5 days a week, 45 years, 8 hours a day, working at this corporation. Yeah, the book's available on Amazon. It's Cubs to Bears, The Bear from Jekyll Island. And I also wrote Cubs to Bears, The Right to Bear Arms, and Cubs to Bears, Good Bears Always Tell the Truth. And in about 2 or 3 months, I have a book coming out on the corporate media. Whoo, Nelly. Oh, this is a good one. This is a good one, but I'm going to play that close to the vest for now. So you want children to understand what these terms are and what it means to be in debt and how they can structure their lives so they're not in debt. Now in terms of preparing children to live under socialism, right, it doesn't stop there, right? Like, children need to have full financial literacy. So as they get older, like if your child's 9 years old, right, you should get them the board game by Robert Kiyosaki. It's it's called Cash Flow for Children, or it's the Cash Flow board game. I don't know what the children's version is called. But it teaches children how to read financial statements, how to evaluate a business, if that business is successful or not, what goes into a business being successful or not, the difference between assets and liabilities, right? Like 9-year-olds should play Cash Flow, 6-year-olds should play Monopoly, and high school students should read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Now, you want children to have the backdrop understanding of the pitfalls of debt before they start reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad, because Kiyosaki's in the mold of the Donald Trump real estate mogul, a lot of money situation. And, I mean, it's fine. People have their different theories on economics. Like he pushes going into not just a little debt. He's like, you should go into tons of debt, keep taking out loans, leverage that money that you have, and, keep getting more properties. I actually disagree with that. But so you want children to have the backdrop of, okay, debt can be used against me. But like what the book does teach that I like is the difference between assets and liabilities. So like people say, oh, the book's about real estate. Yeah, I mean it is, but put it this way. Victoria just asked me, is my book for sale, right? Cubs to Bears, The Bear from Jekyll Island. In a way, that book is the same as a house, right? That book is an asset. Because now, yes, I put in a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of thought, a lot of creativity, a lot of grind, a lot of crushing to make these books. But now those books are just available on the internet, and I don't have to put in the sweat equity anymore to get money for those books, right? Right, so now those books are available on Amazon. You can go right to Amazon. You could purchase that book. That is an asset. So with financial literacy, you want children to understand what assets are and what liabilities are. Assets, according to the definition of Kiyosaki, are things that put money into your pocket every month. Liabilities are, a liability is anything that takes money from you every month. So it's a significant deviation from what is typically taught in finances, right? Because like when you go to take out a bank loan, right, or whatever, people are like, oh, yeah, great investment because the value of your house goes up. That's an asset. Well, that's one way to look at it. Another way to look at it is every month, say you have like in New York, like, right, you're going to get a house, it's $500,000. So you're going to have, a $300,000 to $450,000 mortgage for a little home in New York, right? So say that's $3,000 a month for 30 years. Well, now every month, is that an asset? Because every month, $3,000 coming right out of your pocket going to pay that off. Well, now you're not saving money. You're probably living paycheck to paycheck. You don't have that money to invest in other things, right? So Kiyosaki would say that's a liability. So like, just conceptually, children understanding what these things are is very important. Now, there's so much more to that. Like Curtis Stone, the urban farmer, he talks about, and Owen Benjamin shows this a lot too. He demonstrates this. The book 8 Forms of Capital, which I haven't even read 8 Forms of Capital yet. I live this stuff, so I understand what Stone's talking about. But he swears by it, so I would say you should definitely read it, and high school students should read it. But he talks about like forms of capital. Well, use Owen as an example. Like Owen, he didn't owe me a damn thing, right? Owen, when I first started Classical Learner, he was kind enough. He read my mission statement out on his stream, and all these people saw that, and that brought people to my upstart business, which I could never afford someone like with Owen's following to shout me out, but he did that for free. I wrote my books, my 3 books, and each one he showed on his stream. He played my video on his stream twice. Well, think about that. And like people are like, oh, money is the only form of currency. No, it's not. You don't think that's currency? Do you know how loyal I am to Owen Benjamin? Owen is banned from YouTube, PayPal, and everything, and people are so loyal to him because he's been good to so many people for so long that we all send him money in the mail all the time. And if they shut down his mail, we will find a way to send him money. If we have to drive it and, use the bear trail, right? So the bear trail is a bunch of us are members of the Great Bear Trail. It's a private website. And basically we list where our houses are, what our businesses are, how we can help each other. Anyway, so the point is, do you see that that's currency, right? Being good to people is currency. Earlier this year, I planted 50 containers of lettuce. And I grew them. Took about a week to grow. And I took these containers with my boy, and we walked house to house, and we gave containers of lettuce to my neighbors. And right away, something interesting happened, because my car wasn't starting at the time. I had been using my wife's car since the pandemic started, and I didn't turn my car on for like months. Went to turn it on, wasn't starting. So one of my neighbors down the block, I gave him this lettuce. I was like, yeah, I just wanted to give this to you. I grew this for you and the neighbors, shooting shit. And he was fixing his car at the time. I was like, oh yeah, my car, I got to go take it to the shop and get it fixed. He was like, no, brother, don't worry, I flip cars. I was like, oh yeah? He was like, yeah, give me a few minutes, I'll come over. Came over, took a look at my car, and fixed my car. My car was working. I gave the guy lettuce. How much money would it have cost to fix my car? But that's currency. So children need to understand fiat currency, fractional reserve banking, the Federal Reserve, the history. They need to understand assets, liabilities, but then they need to understand that there are other forms of capital. There are other forms of currency if they're going to survive in not the world that we grew up in, but if they're going to prosper in the world that they're going to grow up in, right? Like, oh man, the socialists, they control the money. Okay, but they don't control that type of currency. And you can do very well. And then if you understand the pitfalls of debt so that you don't have this debt hanging over you where when the government does what they do, it really cripples you, you could withstand government policy. You have assets in the world, things that are bringing you money, and you have other forms of capital like social capital. Well, now, do you see how your child will be much better positioned to survive to prosper in a socialist world? They have real world skills. They could fix things with their hands. They could provide value with their hands. So the government can't shut down that job. We can prosper in any situation. So what I try to do when I work with children through my website at www.classicallearner.com, where I do parent consultations and help them structure their education, you can structure an education so that your child is not prepared for the bullcrap school is going to prepare them for, but how to survive in the world as it really is. So these are the things I pointed out, that your child, if you want to survive in that socialist world, they need to know a trade. They need to have financial literacy. They need to have morality. That's a big one. I was watching Made by Jim Bob. He was talking yesterday, and he was talking about how we are, and it takes people a long time to understand this, but we are enslaved through convenience, right? Here's an example. You have all these people now, right? And they're putting masks on their children, which, I mean, what does it do to a child's psychology when you teach that child that their classmate is a virus, that hugging and being human and roughhousing and playing is dangerous, and that if you do that, you or grandma could die? What does that do to excellent points? Teaching kids to be able to live off the land could be worth more than gold if everything goes right. Because learning how to live off the land, right, and those skills, that's another form of currency. But you have to have morality. So the psychological damage you're doing to these children is immeasurable, right? I always forget, hypochondria. Hypochondria, right, is a clinical disease. It's a person that thinks they have, every time they hear of any disease, they're like, oh no, Bob, I have that. We all know people like that. How many freaking children are going to have be hypochondriacs when they grow up because what they're doing in the school system? But it's like, oh, the government's doing it to us. I mean, yes, in one sense, no, in another. Why are you're sending your child to government schools because it's convenient, right? It's convenient. Oh my God, how can you say that? You don't know my life. You don't know my struggle. I can't have my child. Yeah, all right, we'll get to that. You're sending your child to public school because it's convenient, right? It's a government daycare, essentially. And it's teaching your child no real world skills, and it's indoctrinating them into socialism, into an ideology, a belief system, a lack of skills that will not serve them in life. That if you go back 200 years and you told someone you were going to let the government do this to your child, they would look at you sideways. They'd say shame on you. They'd say shame on you. And listen, we've all been indoctrinated. We're all in different places. I'm going to speak truth because I care about you. I want you to get to a place where you're like, okay, well, over time, I could get myself in a position where I could structure my child's education better and my life better. Ooh, the sun just came through the cloud. Shine on me now. Convenience. Enslaved by convenience. People are putting masks on their child in public school because it's convenient. Right? You got to pull your child out of school, homeschool, and that's hard. And I say, oh, well, my life is structured. Right, because we have to work that job, because we took out that college loan, because we wanted that big house, we wanted to keep up with the Joneses, we took up that house loan, we took out that mortgage, we wanted a car, one car, two cars, we took out those loans, and we got all these things we have to pay for. Conveniences. Conveniences enslave us. I keep getting notifications on my Instagram because it's the place where everyone wants to be right now. Classical Learner Today, my Instagram, is popping there. Get on there. We're enslaved by these conveniences. Like right now, I'm enslaved by this. Look around me. This is nice. Look at this. Look how nice this is. Look how nice this is. Enslaved by this. I didn't know these things. I thought being a man is what I was told. Being a man, you go to college, you get that degree, you work real hard, and you take out that mortgage, and you work hard, you pay that mortgage off for 30 years. That's what being a man is. That's what I was taught. That was wrong. My house is currently in contract. I'm selling my house. I'm moving, uprooting my family. I'm going south, and I'm living somewhere that I can live without a mortgage. Say, oh, aren't you worried about a job? Well, no, I have my business. But even if I didn't have my business, Classical Learner, www.classicallearner.com, check it out. Check my stuff out. Even if I didn't have my business, if you don't have a mortgage, well, you don't have to make as much money. You get a job doing whatever until you figure something else out, you'll be fine. We're enslaved by convenience. But you need morality. See, if you're rooted in, right, usury in the Quran, in the Bible, I'm not going to get into the Torah, but usury is immoral. It's a sin. When I bought this house, I wasn't rooted in morality. And convenience enslaves me. But now I'm getting myself out of that situation, just like you. I'm not perfect. And I'll be in a better situation for it. So you teach children a trade. You teach them financial literacy. You give them a base foundation rooted in morality, so they can't be enslaved by convenience. Government wants you to take that loan. And the last thing I put on that is they need a mindset. Because think about everything I just told you, right? I could have been here and said, oh man, I was indoctrinated, and I was. I was in first grade, and they said, you got to go to college. And second grade, they said, you got a test coming up in fourth grade. If you don't do good on these standardized tests, you're not going to be able to go to college. You're going to be a failure. You're going to be a failure, Brett. Third grade, they said, look at me. You want to be a teacher like me, or do you want to be one of those losers you see out on the television? No job. You better study. Fourth grade, here's your standardized test. You better do good on it, or the only thing you're going to be able to say when you grow up is, do you want fries with that? Ninth grade, you better 10th grade. I was the first person in my family to go to college. I'm better than the rest of my family. 10th grade, 11th grade, you mess up one thing. You think you're going to do a prank? You think you're going to cut class? You mess up once. And we're going to tell your college you're not going to go there. You're going to be a failure. You're going to be a loser. Look at that guy on the corner. He didn't go to college. Loser. This is what they say. This is what they tell children. This is what they told me growing up. What they told me. It's all right, Lou. All right, go bark away. Not too loud. 18 years old. Hey, Brett, you going to sign in this dotted line? $100,000 loan? You want to go to college? Obviously. You guys told me for the last 18 years my mind hasn't developed. I don't know a damn thing about the world. And all you've been telling me is the only way I could be successful is if I go to college. You didn't mention anything about a loan. But shit, what am I going to do? I ask if I want fries with that? You didn't... 18 years, I don't have one skill. I don't know how to do anything. So if you're telling me I have to go to college to learn skills, this is what they do. And they get children to sign on the dotted line. And the same thing with the mortgage. They that keep up with the Jones culture. Hey, you don't have a house, you loser? You live with your parents? Millennial? You live with your parents? When I was 18, I had my own house. And then I voted for the Great Society, Lyndon B. Johnson, because everyone needed those loans. We put a man on the moon. and I took out all these loans, and I voted for these unions and these government pensions, and I voted for Social Security and Medicaid, and now we're $100 trillion in debt. But I didn't live with my parents. This is what they do. And I could look at all that, understanding all that, right? And I could say, man, I'm a victim. That's what they want. That's what the socialists want. No, I'm not a victim. So what? So what you got indoctrinated? So what they fooled me? So what they told me to sign on that line? Take your goodies. Take your lollipops. Take your fancy pants. Take it. I'm selling it. Get rid of it. Be gone. Be gone. Teach this to children. Winning mindset. Trades. Financial literacy. Morality. A winning mindset. And yes, there's a lot more that goes into all this stuff. Prepare children for the world as it's going to be, not the world you grew up in. And the public school system's not doing that. And, we're all in different situations, and maybe you send your children to public school, and that's fine. But you take action outside of that. You say, how do I combat that while they're in it until I can get them out of it? Whatever it might be. How do I structure my home life to combat the indoctrination that they're receiving in the public schools? Say, shit, I want you to be the class clown. Anyway, I better go inside. Got things I got to do. Got to finish getting the house clean. Got to get the house clean. I got to get that set up. Some things I want to do. I got to I'm working on the lesson plan that goes with the next Cubs to Bears book to teach children about corporate media. And not just teach children about corporate media. Like, it's one thing to tell children, okay, this news network good, this news network bad, this broadcaster good, this broadcaster bad. That's not worth anything. What I encourage is that you teach children the mechanisms used to leverage control over news networks, over news personalities. Because when you understand the mechanisms used to control these institutions, it becomes obvious that they are inherently corrupt from their foundation. But it's hard to see past that when you're just looking at what they say. Because, like, all right, that's so many people were like, oh my God, I can't believe Fox News was against President Trump on the night of the election. Well, what happens is people, when the news media says something you agree with, people go, they're so good, right? They're so good. And then if they say something you don't agree with, you go, oh, they're so bad. But what you're not seeing is the mechanisms that are used to control these institutions, to really understand them. So my next book coming out is going to assist parents in teaching children that. And I actually, for high school students, I have a lesson plan on my website, a curriculum on my website to teach them the mechanisms that run corporate media. All right, guys. This has been fun. Tell your friends about me. Tell your friends about me. Jump over to my D Live, Classical Learner. There's no spaces between that, Classical Learner. I'm going to start moving my streams there. I have to get the stream key figured out. And anytime I have to do new technological stuff, I'm always so busy that I'm like, I'll do it later. Classical Learner, no spaces on D Live. And www.classicallearner.com. Classicallearner.com. If you want to support my stuff, you can do that there. I set up a new donate button. My books are there. And if you're a parent interested in better education, you can schedule a consultation. So, all right, guys, I will catch you later.